Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Thank you so much for being here. If you happen to be new here, my name is Sam and thank you so much for stopping by. Today, we're going to be talking all about common houseplants. My beautiful friend Sarah from Peanuts Plants tagged me in the little houseplant tag that's been going around the plant community to share with you guys 5 of my favorite common plants. As most of you, I started out with the most common of common when it comes to houseplants. I think that's how most of us started this journey. So for the first almost 2 years of my collecting, I really didn't know that there was such thing as rare plants. I didn't know that you could order plants online. I had no idea. I had your standard like pothos, Syngonium, ZZ plants, Hartley philodendron. So though I clearly love all different types of varieties of plants, obviously more tropical stuff, that's kind of what I've gotten into over the last year. I discovered that there's tropical philodendrons and anthuriums and all of these really amazing, beautiful plants. I know a lot of the time, because that's what I have been, collecting recently, that's mostly what I show on my channel. So I think this is a really fun tag. I think it's a really fun idea to shed some light on some of the plants that really don't get talked about all that often and, don't get the spotlight put on them on my channel very much. So I think this is going to be really fun. Even though I do collect more tropical or uncommon types of houseplants, that's just kind of the place that I'm at right now in my plant collecting. I love the idea of sharing with you some of my favorites. You can find them at almost any big box store or nursery. They're not gonna cost you an arm and a leg. You don't have to order them online. You can literally go out to a big box store and pick them up. So if this is something that you'd be interested in seeing, stick around and we're gonna jump right into it. So the first plant I'm gonna be sharing with you guys that made my top 5 favorite common plants is gonna be a plant that you guys have heard me talk about probably, if you've been here for a while, since the beginning of my YouTube journey. And that is gonna be Syngoniums. The Syngonium I'm showing you here is the one that I've had the longest. This was my very first ever Syngonium plant. I got this in a very small pot. I'll try to find a picture of it if I can when I first brought him home. But this is my beautiful Syngonium white butterfly. One of my all-time favorite plants, hands down. Now I have several different varieties of Syngonium, so you guys can let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in seeing a Syngonium collection video or care video. But I decided to share this one with you just because he is the oldest. He's about 2 years old now. He's one of my favorites. So Syngoniums can be vining plants, so they can vine and trail, or they can climb, or they can just be more compact and full. It really just depends. You can definitely prune them to grow whichever way you would prefer, but this one clearly is just like a big Syngonium bush. I absolutely love Syngoniums because they really don't require a lot of attention or maintenance. They kind of just take care of themselves and they grow very fast. In my experience, all of the Syngoniums that I have in my collection currently, they are all super fast growers. Very rewarding houseplants. And the white butterfly is really interesting because some of the leaves have this beautiful white hue to them, and then others are more green. You can see that one right there has some really beautiful dark green veination. I just love these plants. Another really awesome thing about Syngoniums is that they are low light tolerant. So I have this guy living in my kitchen actually, and he gets very minimal light, very filtered light conditions, and he still grows like crazy. I haven't really noticed a difference moving him into lower light with his growth. Just a really amazing plant. So this guy has actually begun to try and trail. So I put a bamboo trellis in to kind of stake him up a little bit and keep him more upright. Honestly, every time I look at this plant, I'm so amazed at the growth and how far he's came since the day I brought him home. Syngoniums will just always be in my top favorite houseplants, common or not. This is one of my all-time favorite genuses of plants, and yeah, I think everyone should have at least a few Syngoniums in their collection. Okay, so the next plant we're going to talk about is this beauty right here. This is actually a Dieffenbachia. This is Dieffenbachia Reflector. A year ago, you probably would not see a Dieffenbachia listed in one of my favorite plants. I actually put them on my hit list video last year of plants that I really wouldn't purchase again. And I do still kind of feel that way. I'm not a huge Dieffenbachia fan, but this one right here is a different story. This one I'm a huge fan of. I bought this as a teeny tiny little plug. It was about this tall. The roots were about this big, and it didn't have the beautiful reflective pattern on the leaves at all. They were just solid green, kind of like these little babies we see here in the pot. So it's pushed up about 3 different little pups, little baby plants, and you can see that they don't have the reflective pattern yet that we love this plant for. They're just green. So that's what the mother plant looked like whenever I got her. It's been such a joy watching this plant grow up and the leaves get larger and more mature and start to really develop that gorgeous pattern. I'm so excited that she's pushing up little babies. I could technically take these out and separate them and have entirely new plants, and I probably will when they get a little bit bigger, but for now I'm just gonna leave them be. One thing I have noticed about this plant in particular is she is very thirsty. This is true with most Dieffenbachia. So if you allow them to dry out too long, you will get yellow leaves or get a droopy plant. They're kind of dramatic in that way, but honestly, this plant here is totally worth all of the fuss. Take a look at this new growth coming in right here. I love how the new leaves look when they're all rolled up with the beautiful white pattern. So this babe is growing kind of funky, you can see. So she has a little loop-de-loop going on with her stem, and she would be a lot more full down at the bottom in the base of the pot, but due to underwatering, she has lost several leaves over the last couple years. This is a plant that really doesn't get that much attention on my channel. I never really talk about, but it's one that I definitely am looking at and admiring constantly. I don't think the camera's really gonna do her justice with just how beautiful the pattern on those leaves are. The third plant that we're going to talk about, one of my favorite common plants, is this beautiful Stromathy Triostar. Let me just mention, I wanted to talk about plants that are common in most parts of the country, so common where most people live. So I live in West Virginia, and I've said it time and time again, most plants that are considered common where most people live, we don't even have. There's so many things that y'all would find where you live and consider common that I have never found here in West Virginia. I live somewhere that doesn't even have the most common of common houseplants. So just keep that in mind. I have had to order most of the plants that I'm sharing with you today online, even though they are considered common, and I'm calling them common. So yes, this is my Stromathy Triostar. I did order this from Amazon. I believe this is the first and only plant I have ever ordered from Amazon. And I ordered it last winter, believe it or not. But I found it on there. I had really been wanting one, and it was $20, free shipping. So there was no heat pack option, but I was like, you know what? It's 20 bucks, free 2-day shipping. Why not? Like, let's just chance it. And it looked perfect when it arrived, but it was very cold. It was snowing outside, so I had a pretty good feeling that there was gonna be some damage. So about 2 or 3 days later, I checked on the plant, and literally every single leaf was dead, guys. Every single leaf was crispy, rolled up, yellow. It was death in a pot. So I cut away and removed all of the leaves back to literally nothing. There was nothing. It was an empty pot, and it immediately started growing back. Immediately started putting off new leaves. I've had her for going on a year now, and she's as full as ever and as beautiful as ever. I absolutely love, love, love everything that's going on with this plant, okay? From the beautiful pattern and colors on the front of the leaf to the absolutely gorgeous fuchsia pink color on the back of the leaves, the growth habit, everything about it is just gorgeous. The shape of the leaves. Now I have heard people say that Stromathys, just like other prayer plants, can be, you know, pretty dramatic, pretty finicky, kind of hard to please, drama queens. In my experience, that hasn't been the case with this girl. She's honestly been super easy. I rarely ever get a crispy leaf. Now, if I underwater, if I don't water her for a long time, I'll get a crispy leaf or two, but honestly, it doesn't really matter what the humidity is. She still continues to grow and put off these gorgeous leaves. I just love this plant so much, guys, and I'm so proud of how full she's become. Like, how much she's taken off. I mean, the leaves do fold up and down depending on day or night, like your typical prayer plant. That's something that I also really love about this plant, because when she's folded up, when she has her prayer hands up, you know, you really get to see that beautiful pink backside. But yeah, the green, the white, the pink, everything going on with this plant is gorgeous. Constantly pushing out new leaves. Triostar definitely made my list because she's absolutely gorgeous, and she's just been a really rewarding, fast growing plant, and I love her to bits. Number 4. The 4th plant on this list had to be my beautiful Philodendron Micans. Oh my goodness. Now, I absolutely love the heartleaf philodendron in general, the Brazil, the regular, the variegated, but also the Micans. The Micans is definitely my favorite when it comes to the heartleaf trailing philodendron family. I've had this plant for a good while now. I bought it as a pretty small starter plant, and then I also received another little rooted chunk from my friend Sarah, and I added it to this pot. Now, this plant, it looks a little bit scraggly, and that's honestly because she is just recovering from spider mites. I get spider mites usually at the season change every fall, sometimes every winter too. From summer to fall and fall to winter, I usually can expect a spider mite outbreak, and it usually hits the same plants each time. So this year I have just kind of been expecting it, and I've been keeping my eyes peeled for that outbreak, and sure enough, it showed up. So this was one of the plants that it hit, but I caught it early. She was sprayed down really well in my shower. I took her out of her pot and everything and just really hosed her down and treated her. I let her set in the tub and dry overnight, and then I potted her back up. So she looks a little bit crazy. She's lost a few leaves, but she's still as beautiful as ever. This plant really reminds me a whole lot of a juvenile melanochrysum. The leaf shape and texture is very similar. It is a beautiful velvet leaf variety, and it does also have that gorgeous red hue to the backs of the leaves, particularly on the new growth. She's just really taken off. She lives above my humidifier, and she just grows like crazy. I've propagated her a few times, and she just continues to grow. I think she looks mad cute in this little planter I put her in. I really love this plant so much. These can also climb, so I could give her a totem pole of some sort, and her leaves would probably get a lot larger. I love the look of her trailing so much, so I don't think I'm gonna do that. I feel like eventually one day I'll probably get another Micans, and maybe I will put that one up a pole and see how it does. But this one here is just such a gorgeous trailing plant that I think I'm gonna let her do her thing. I absolutely adore her. She's one of my favorites for sure. Always has been, always will be. Philodendron Micans definitely made this list. Okay guys, so the 5th and final plant that I wanted to include in my top 5 favorite common house plants is going to have to be the beautiful Scindapsus pictus exotica. Yes. But this is a plant that, again, my friend Sarah sent me in a swap. It was already rooted, but it was much smaller than this. It was a good size, don't get me wrong, but it has grown so much already. We did a swap back in the spring, and whenever I unboxed this plant, I literally got tears in my eyes because, yes, I know this is a pretty common plant for most of you guys. Like, most of you could go to your big box stores or at least a nursery where you live and find this plant for a reasonable price. Me, on the other hand, I'm lucky to find the regular Argyrius where I live. She is just amazing. I wanted this plant for so long, and now that I finally have it, like, I've only fallen more in love. I'm obsessed with how large these leaves get. Not only that, but how silver they are. It's just truly so gorgeous. Scindapsus are technically shingling plants, which is really interesting, but they don't typically shingle indoors. So yeah, that's why we have such a flat leaf. All of this here basically is all new growth. She always has new growth coming in at all times. We have another new growth point coming in right here. Very exciting. One thing I have noticed about this babe is she is also a thirsty girl. So most of the plants I'm talking about today are pretty thirsty plants. I'm so excited that she has started to trail over her pot, and I really can't wait until she starts trailing all the way around. If I ever did find a pot of this where I live, I would 100% pick it up. I would probably pick it up every single time I seen it because it's just so beautiful. So I just have to say thank you, Sarah, for sending me this, because this is, you know, one of my all-time favorite plants now. And it's even more special because a friend sent it to me. That is my scindapsus exotica. Hey guys, so I know this is top 5 favorite common plants, but we do have an honorable mention that I wanted to talk about really quickly. This is my Philodendron lemon lime upright. It is a pretty common philodendron. I actually seen these in store for the first time at my Lowe's a couple months ago, but this is one that I ordered offline last year and I absolutely love it. This is a plant that I really didn't know that I would love as much as I do before I seen it in person. Look at this new leaf, how cute is that? Beautiful. I think this one in particular is really interesting because he's actually started to trail. So he's spilling out of the pot and trailing downwards, which I think is just so cool looking. What really sets it off for me is the pinkish orange petioles. Yeah, I just think the lime green with these pink stems is so cool and it just looks really pretty. Yeah, it's a bomb ass plant. I love this guy. I think most of you can probably find this plant where you live. They're not expensive whatsoever. I wanted to throw in my lemon lime philodendron upright. So he's definitely one of my favorite common plants as well. Alright friends, that is gonna do it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed seeing some of my more common houseplants that we don't really get to see that often. I had a lot of fun sharing these with you guys. I'm excited to show y'all more of my collection, more than just the, you know, expensive or rare or tropical plants. I'm excited to show you guys all of them because the truth is I have a lot of amazing plants in my collection that don't cost a lot of money, and you know, they deserve some attention too. So we're definitely going to be including some of these guys a lot more often on this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys very, very soon in my next video. I love you all to pieces and thank you again so much. Y'all are the best. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye guys.